Hey everyone, welcome to the back half. We're just a couple weeks away from the start of Books and Bakes, my summer read-a-thon benefiting Cake for Kids. You know the deal. For every book I read from July 1st through Labor Day, supporters will pledge $1, $5, or $10, all of which will help Cake for Kids bring birthday cakes to underserved and at-risk children. This is a really important charity for me. I've been baking for them for a couple of years now. It's exceptionally rewarding, and I'm really looking forward to being able to give back to Cake for Kids with this fundraiser, because I think the work that they do is just amazing. So, in terms of Books and Bakes, one of the things that I'm super excited about is the opportunity for all of us to read some books together. So I'll be previewing some of the ones I'm planning to read, so you can grab a copy, read along, and chat about it with me at the back half. Because the general mood these days has been on the somber side, unless you're in New York and a Knicks fan, I decided I wanted to start us off with one of the funniest writers I've ever read. You know, back in my editor days, I would occasionally gift books to younger writers that I worked with, reflecting things that I saw in their work and hopefully encouraging some new explorations on their part. One day I handed a copy of Terry Pratchett's Men-at-Arms to one of my critics. With a small derisive sniff, he handed it right back. On the bright side, that did reduce by one the number of people I would be buying books for in the future. For those who don't know, Pratchett is the late and legendary author of the Discworld books, a series of fantasy novels set on the titular Discworld, a flat world that flies through the universe atop 4 elephants standing on top of a giant space turtle. A master of absurdist satire, Pratchett blends nearly every genre trope into a rich stew of linguistically nimble and deeply humanist fables that reflect our own fractured reality. The Atlantic recently published a piece lamenting Pratchett's lack of prominence in literature writ large. I'm not sure how accurate that actually is. He's certainly a legend in fantasy circles, but he does seem to be left out of discussions of so-called mainstream masters of English literature, where I think he should be included. The Atlantic article's misguided hot take is that expensive movie adaptations would bring Pratchett to the masses. I disagree, in large part because so much of what makes Pratchett special is wordplay, puns, and wry observations. It's hard to see that translating to screens without massive amounts of voiceover narration, in which case it would be more efficient to listen to an audiobook, which, for the record, is a book. I prefer the more traditional way of promoting an overlooked author, which is to recommend them to everyone I possibly can. So I've chosen Wyrd Sisters as one of the first books I'll be reading in the Books and Bakes series. This was one of the very first Book World novels I read, and one that made me into a lifelong fan. Wyrd Sisters is part of Pratchett's sub-series in Discworld, focusing on 3 witches, led by one of his greatest characters, Granny Weatherwax. It's been a long time since I've visited with her, and I'm very eager to dive back in. Remember, don't sniff at genre, no one likes a snob, and you'll miss out on some truly great work. So, following Pratchett, I'm going to leave behind the storied fields of English humor and return to the States for a classic American literary tradition, the immigrant's memoir. Given the lamentable state of our country at the moment, now's pretty much the time to do so. I first read Viet Thanh Nguyen's when his debut novel, The Sympathizer, won the Pulitzer Prize. Given that I married into a Vietnamese family, I've always kept an eye out for authors who can teach me more about their immigrant experience. I also like to share them with my nieces and nephews. I want them to have at least some writing in their lives that comes from authors with a shared background and experience. And Nguyen, whose family came to the U.S. as Vietnamese refugees, is the guy to do it with his memoir, A Man of Two Faces. He's been an astute commentator on our current national nightmare in the New York Times and other outlets. Sharp, he's funny, he's exceptionally dapper, which is a quality not really related to literary talent, but I enjoy seeing it given that I myself am exceptionally undapper. He's well primed to examine America from the inside and out. I am super looking forward to this one. I haven't set a final order for the books I'll be reading. So much of it has to do with my mood when I grab a particular book, but these 2 will be in July. I'd love it if you join me in reading them so we can chat about it here at the back half. You can get both books at Amazon, or if you're weaning yourself from the Bezos bullshit, at bookshop.org, where you can both buy the books and support your local independent bookstore. Remember, Books and Bakes Read-a-thon starts on July 1st and runs through Labor Day. The entire project is part of my work as a real estate agent and with the support of my team, the Bediz Group at Arla at Properties. You can make your pledge at SeanBugRealtor.com. The full address is on the screen. And all your pledges will go directly to Cake for Kids and help them bring birthday smiles to underserved and at-risk children. Thanks for joining me today at the back half. Now go grab your books and get ready to read.